Charlie comes back because she's already perfect. So, as I said, the subject for mine is going to be slightly different. It won't be a specific learning outcome. It'll be a broader question that you'll hopefully be able to take away and learn something about yourself. So, when I started looking at the topic that I wanted to deliver, I struggled, thought about it, and asked people for their feedback. A lot of them did, and although there were a few varied ones, the main thing that came back was shoes, which was the same thing that I had thought of, but I thought that surely can't be the most interesting thing about me. So when I started looking into it a bit more, I came across this article from the Huffington Post, which is called "Are You Living Your Resume or Your Eulogy?" And actually one of the lines in there really sunk in with me, because it said, "She will forever be known as the woman who eats lunch at her desk." I thought, God, that's worse than being known for shoes. So I thought about it and decided I wanted to go a bit further into what my eulogy would be. Because a lot of it focuses around the fact that what we focus on and what we spend most of our time trying to work on are the things that become meaningless after our hearts stop beating. So what do I want my eulogy to be? People like Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela will have had epic eulogies. It's a given because of what they did. But what about you and me and everyday people? How do we get a good eulogy? So I had to look at a few different people who I think deserve them. So the first one is window cleaners at a children's hospital who dress up as superheroes, so that when they're scaling down the building, it cheers the kids up. Top one in the middle might not be overly clear, but that's the photo of inside a school locker. There's a kid at this school who takes sandwich making materials to school so that those kids who don't have any lunch, he can make them a sandwich. The bottom one, they're handmade scarves that get left around cold cities so that if people are homeless or just out in the cold, there's something that they can pick up to try and keep themselves warm. And the last one is if you're unemployed and you're going to a job interview, that dry cleaners will clean your suit for you for free. There's one that I couldn't find a picture of, but it's taken me God knows how many times to be able to say it without welling up. A woman walked into the kitchen and an 11-year-old daughter was making an absolute mess. First reaction was shout at her, ask her what she was doing. And she said that at her school, it's tradition that when it's your birthday, you take a cake or buns in or something for the rest of the class. And it was one of the girls' birthdays the next day, and her mum had recently died, so she had no cake or no one to make her one. So this young girl had taken it upon herself to make the cake, to take one in for the girl, so that she had something to share with the classmates. Now none of these are world-changing, they're not earth-shattering, but to those people in that environment, they mean a lot and it probably changed their lives. So moving on, I came across two other guys. You probably won't recognise them, some of you may, they're American football players. Now, the first guy, he received a letter from a young girl who said that he was her inspiration because he wears hearing aids, as does she. And he actually responded to her. He sent her a handwritten letter that said how proud he was that she considered him her inspiration. And whether he meant it or not, but he said, you know, if they're ever in the area, he'd love to meet the family. I can't only imagine that girl's face when she received that letter. And the second guy spends every year round about just under 20 grand on Christmas gifts for children who are in the care of the state. Now these guys, they're already popular, they're very successful in their field, they're wealthy, they don't have to do much more to be well liked. But to them that wasn't good enough, they wanted to do more. Now that got me thinking about JCI, Christmas gifts for disadvantaged kids. Pretty sure I've been working on that actually for the past few years. You know, we've run Secret Santa since before I was a member. So maybe there is a bit more to me and what I do and what I could be known for. And JCI is probably a large part of that, and that's why I got involved on the community side. So anyone who is an active member in JCI deserves that epic eulogy. No one makes you attend these things, no one makes you want to give back, you do it because you want to. Most people will have seen this. It's actually got something in it. This is part of the National Board Survival Kit that was given to me for Christmas. And it says on the front of it my name, my position and the date. And other than that, most people have never looked past the fact that it's full of brandy. But on the back, it's also got one of my favourite quotes on. It's a Gandhi quote, which is, "Be the change you want to see in the world." And that is genuinely what I want to be. If in my eulogy someone can stand up and say, "Katie made a difference," I'll be happy. But if they can stand up and say, "Katie made a difference and she inspired people to do the same," I'll be very happy. So I don't know if anyone else has ever thought about what their eulogy might sound like, but have a think about it. And if you're not happy with what it says, now's your opportunity to change it. Thank you.